So let us talk about what comes out of these sprayers. We know that the sprayers are fitted with nozzles which create droplets. So the pesticide is delivered in the form of a droplet. So there's need to look further around the issue of droplets. Now, a droplet is the sphere of a liquid which is actually round, which is less than 0.5 millimeters in diameter. Now we have what are known as aerosols or aerosol sprays, which can be targeted to flying insects. These are quite small, about 30 to 40 micrometers, and the mists are ideal for treating foliage with a very low volume, or VLV or ULV, ultra low volume rates of application. So the droplet size can vary, and the size may depend on what is being targeted or the weather conditions. The coarse spray is required to minimize drift. That is when you have a big droplets. So here we have got the nozzle which is delivering some droplets. So they form a sort of a V-shaped structure. Here we've got droplets from a nozzle, but some of these droplets may be carried by the wind or air. The reason why they may be carried by the air depends on what they call velocity and also diameter. It's the speed and the diameter of the droplet which can determine whether it's going to target the crop where the pest is and be deposited there on the leaves, or it can be moved away from the crop depending on the velocity and the diameter, which determine what is known as a pesticide drift. This is off-target pesticide which is missing the crop. So the velocity and the diameter are very important when it comes to these droplets and the pesticide application. Here I just want to show you that there are three things which can be determined using special equipment. At the top of this slide there is a velocity measurement. You can see that green area at the top there's a nozzle which is delivering droplets, and there are instruments which are going to measure the speed at which these droplets are moving. The speed is captured by those instruments, and when we come to B, under that sort of enclosure, we have got also the position of the nozzle, which is delivering the droplets, and there's also a piece of equipment which can measure the diameter of each of the droplets. So the diameter of the droplet can be measured using that instrument. And the last one, C, can measure droplet drift. So probably some air is blown. There's also a nozzle which is delivering some droplets, and these droplets could be blown depending on the speed of the air which is put inside that block. So at the end of the experiment, some measurements will have to be taken so that we have an indication of drift. So these three parameters are important: the velocity or the speed of the droplet, its diameter, and the drift. Here is a classification of sprays according to droplet sizes. We have got volume, mean, diameter on our left, and the droplet classification on our right. Anything which is less than 50 micrometers is classified as aerosol. Anything between 51 and 100 micrometers is mist. And please note, it is the aerosol and the mist which could be vulnerable to drift due to wind. Between 101 and 100, we have got fine spray, which can also be vulnerable to wind. Then we have got 201 up to 400 micrometers. This is medium spray. Probably this is fairly stable, and a very stable droplet size which is around 400 micrometers. This is coarse spray. This was according to G.A. Matthews. Matthews worked at the Cotton Research Institute in Kadoma for quite a long time before he joined London University to do research on droplets, on the droplets. So let us look at some of the parameters which are evaluated on droplets, because we should understand the issue concerning droplets, because it can affect the efficacy of the pesticides. So one of the most important parameter is the volume, median diameter, the VMD. This is a representative sample. You have a representative sample of the droplets, which is divided into two equal parts by volume, so that one half is smaller than a droplet whose diameter is less than the VMD, and the other half contain larger droplets. Maybe we have to use a diagram to explain this. Now, if you have a sample of droplets, you can divide them into equal parts, but you need a droplet size which is in between, which can divide these droplets into half, so that 50% is less than the diameter, which is at the center. Then another 50% is above the diameter, which is at the center. This diameter, which is at the center, is represented by that yellow arrow pointing downwards. And this is what we call the VMD, volume median diameter. Now, a few large droplets could alter the VMD because it doesn't indicate the range of droplet sizes. Another parameter which we have is known as the number median diameter. This one is now focusing on the number of droplets, whereas the previous parameter was focusing on the diameter, on the size. This one is focusing on the numbers of droplets. So we can divide the sample into two parts. If we're counting these droplets, the number which is at the center can divide the droplets into two divisions. This is just a median. The number median diameter NMD divides droplets into two equal parts by number without reference to the volume, thus emphasizing small droplets. Now we have a ratio of VMD and NMD, which is often an indication of the range of sizes. Thus, the more uniform the size of the droplet, the nearer the size of the ratio being close to 1. So what you are simply saying is that if we divide the VMD and NMD, and if we get a figure which is 1 or close to 1, it means the droplets coming out of a nozzle are uniform. Let us look at the factors which can affect droplet size. It could be gravitational force, meteorological factors or weather conditions, and electrostatic forces, where you have droplets being attracted by certain materials. Movement of droplets, we have to look at the effect of evaporation. Small droplets have high surface areas. The diameter is less than 50. micrometers, probably they've got a potential to easily evaporate. Sometimes we now talk of the lifespan, how long is the droplet released from the nozzle going to stay within the environment after spray. Because if the droplet quickly disappears, it may mean our chemical may not be delivered to the target. That's why this parameter may be important. The lifespan of water droplet. This can be determined by this equation. T, which is time, equals to d squared, d representing droplet diameter, and delta T, which is the difference in temperature between wet and dry bulb thermometers. So d squared over 80 times delta T will give us an indication of how long a droplet released from the nozzle during spraying will last in the environment. And this will give us an indication whether the nozzle is delivering efficiently the chemicals to their target. These are some of the parameters which can be used. Gravity. Now droplets accelerate towards downwards due to gravity because of their mass or weight. Drift is minimized with the droplets larger than 200 micrometers. So these ones can be affected by gravity. What are the meteorological factors of importance? Local climate conditions, things like temperature. You know, water can evaporate. We can easily lose some of our droplets due to evaporation. Wind velocity can cause a drift. Relative humidity can minimize evaporation, so we can retain some of our droplets which can finally reach the target. So during high humidity conditions, probably these could be the best environmental conditions for spraying. Then spraying of aerosols directed against tsetse flies is often done at night due to stable conditions, because during the night maybe the droplets are not disturbed. Droplet dispersal, large droplets are not affected by turbulence or wind. But we often lose droplets carrying the pesticide due to evaporation, and this can be problematic, probably when you are spraying pesticides targeted towards the tsetse fly. That's why you may have to spray during the night. Now, there could be spray distribution studies trying to see how the droplets are distributed when they are coming from the nozzle. In order to aid such studies, some coloring material may be used. We may have additional fluorescent tracer to the spray and examining the deposits under ultra low violet light. Sometimes they use zinc sulfide. Fluorescent oil soluble dyes are added to the spraying on the foliage so that you can trace and locate where the droplet is entered, is actually landed. So these are some of the studies which can be done in order to understand the droplets. Determination of droplet size, we can use glass slides to collect droplets. You actually spray and put some glass slides so that they trap the droplets, so that you can do probably some measurements and some counts. You can use greased surfaces to collect the droplets. So this is another way of doing it. But earlier on I showed you special equipment which can accurately determine the parameters of these droplets. So just remember that it is important to understand the droplet size, and it can link to the type of nozzle which generate these droplets. Because if you want small droplets, you have to choose that nozzle which gives you small droplets. If you want large droplets, likewise you need to choose the right nozzle for that job. So I think this could be it for the droplets. For the droplets which comes out of the sprayer. So I will have to stop here.